Greetings, Builder, and welcome back to the Lapis Kingdom. I am the Blue Regent, and today we're going to be spending some time working on building the two houses that we laid the floor plan down in the very first planning episode. One of the houses is going to be a kind of lower middle class house, a slightly smaller version of the first house we ever built, and then the other house is going to be kind of a lower class house, and it's going to be built sort of in the same concept as the fisherman's hut. Essentially, the occupant of this house is roughly in the same economic class as the person who lives within the fisherman's hut. So if you're ready, grab your work boots, grab your tools, and let's get started. So the first building we're going to work on is going to be this lower middle class house, which is basically going to be kind of a reflection of the first house we built, just a little bit smaller. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to replace the wool outline of the foundation with stone bricks. The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to do the double oak pillars in each corner. Another minor difference that's going to exist with this house is this is just going to have a singular staircase up versus this wider set of stairs here. And it's just going to be minor details like that that kind of help drive home the idea that this is a slightly wealthier house than this one over here. So I've got the perimeter of barrels along the bottom, just like, again, just kind of matching everything that's happening over here with this slightly fancier house. Then I'm gonna carry this over, strip all these, and then the next step from here, is get our internal support posts set up. And something about my math is wrong. Oh, this all needs to be shifted over one. Okay, all right, that's easily fixed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. For a second there, I was worried that all my math was off. Oh, almost. Forgot that corner. There. So now we've got that set up, just like before, kind of as a place filler for what we're ultimately going to use to look like plaster. We're going to throw diorite in all of these open spots. A thing that I've been thinking about, looking at blocks and keeping variability in mind, is another block that I literally never use but could fit in with the idea of cracked and broken plaster, and I haven't used it yet because I don't know, I'm still a little hesitant about it. Birch logs, I think, might fit into the same idea as like cracked plaster, broken plaster. And I think once I start officially going for the coloring that I'm going to be using and the actual blocks that are going to be going in those walls, sometimes I might mix birch logs in as well. It is starting to feel like in these building episodes that roof building is like one of the main things that I spend time on. And I don't know if that's actually true, but it definitely feels like this is where a lot of my time is spent. One change that I'm super glad that we made pretty early in building is alternating between the polished granite and just regular granite slabs. I think it really breaks up the roof line a lot and just makes everything look a little bit more tiled. That original roof where it's just the granite slabs, it just looks like, it looks plain, basically. And the slight difference in shade and the slight difference in texture just really adds a lot as far as the overall appearance of the roof line. We've got our oak cross beams that come across on the inside here. Same with the other side and across the middle. The oak cross beams carry out to the outside. in both the front and the back. And we'll come around and add our little supports, which help bolster the roof up a little bit. Can I hit these? Haha. Just a jump is all I need. Ooh, this one might be tricky. Yes. And then to kind of widen up the base of this, again, we'll use stone brick walls. Do I like this singular stair? I think I like that better. I really do. I know I said I was just going to do one set because this is a slightly lower class house, but I think I like that better. So we're going to keep this wider steps up to the top. So if I was just looking to do like a quick and dirty fill out space in a village, this I feel like fits. You know, it fits the palette, but I do want to figure out how would this house be decorated. And I think this main room here, this first entry room, is going to be like a combination kitchen dining room, leaving this as kind of like a bedroom storage room. So basically the idea being the biggest difference between these two houses is this house has an entertaining space. You know, you could, in theory, let's pretend for a second that people come over, you know, you're in here cooking dinner and everything. They eat dinner. Once dinner's over, everything in this room can be kind of shuffled around. Maybe the table can be brought into the dining room. It's like an entertainment space. People could read or sing or do whatever people do for leisure in Azeroth. I'm not sure. Whereas this house isn't going to really have that luxury. It's basically just going to have a dining space and a sleeping space. And that's it. So a thing that I'm trying to figure out right now is, where do I want to put this fireplace? And I really have two options here. One is along this back wall, kind of like with the first house. And the other is along this side wall. And I kind of think I like that better. And the reason I like that better is then along this wall I can have like a dining area. Well, then these two will match. This is a tough one. This is really a tough one. I think I'm going to do it along the back. And I'm going to do it along the back because then it fits with what everything else is doing. I think that's right. And this gets cobblestone. The floor gets filled out with cobblestone. Throw a furnace here. Campfire here. I believe that's how the base gets set up. And then this goes here. This, oops. Not upside down. This goes here. This goes here. And then that goes there like that. And actually, we get another beam that comes across here and comes across here. Now, originally, in the first house's fireplace, these are stone brick. But I think I like cobblestone walls there better. The next step is to fill out the back. And I think this carries up. And then I think there's two more. Does that carry up high enough? I think it does. Put our trapdoors around the campfire at the top of the chimney. So now we got our smoke effect going. I think this gets 2 stairs. And I think a stair happens like that. I believe that that's how that works. So there we go. There's our fireplace. And I think the eating area might just fit right in here. It might just be like a little 3-chair thing. So there's the design that I'm working with for now. I've got like a little crafting table, as if this is where you would do some meal preparing, some barrels for cupboards, and another barrel here for storage. And, you know, it's cramped. But again, this is a slightly lower class house. And so this is the space that the occupants would have to work with. So now we're going to fill this space in. And so this will separate the bedroom from the dining area. And so this is going to be kind of a bedroom storage area because, again, space is kind of limited in here. So how I decided to handle this bedroom is I'm going to use these dark oak trapdoors. Oh, that's going the wrong direction. That's okay. I can fix that quickly. To create like a little barrier here. So this is like a little storage area. And then coming in here, this is the sleeping area. And this wall just kind of separates everything else, gives the occupants a little bit of privacy. And we still have some area for storage that would be missing from the larger house. One more thing I want to do is I want to add these spruce trap doors. Do I want to have them that low or do I want to have them up? How does higher up look? I think I like higher up better, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I like that a little better. Although we still have this. I could do something like that. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I think this is how I'm going to do the ceiling. It brings it down a little bit more. You can still have these like rafters available, but now I don't have the exposed roof anymore. And I think that looks a lot better. And that's kind of inspired by the town hall because you can't see the roofing inside of the town hall. And so this might actually be how I handle the ceiling of these houses. It still has some height. You still have some depth changes going on in here. It just covers up all that granite so you're not looking at it from the inside as well. Oh no! That's what happens when you get too carried away building. Oh no! Oh no, no, no! Oh my goodness. Well, Kingdom, let this be a lesson to everybody. This is what happens when you get carried away building. You lose track of time. It becomes nighttime, and then you aren't paying attention to your surroundings when you come back outside. Luckily, I can fix all of this. The worst part about creepers blowing up your stuff is the materials you lose. That's the most frustrating part, in my opinion. There. What creeper? Man, that's annoying. That's okay. So this needs to be broken out. Can I do that on this side? I can. Yeah. Yeah, I can. And then you get a fence. You get a fence. You get a fence. Trapdoor. 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 Here is our lower middle class house. Still a decent amount of storage in it. As far as starter houses go, this may be a little more on starter house speed because some of these things like this, like embellishments like this little partition, don't need to exist right away. I still have everything I need to get going. I have a furnace in here. I've got beds. I've got storage. You know, I've got a crafting table. I could set up an anvil somewhere in here, or I could even put one out front. I have some options for that. So this might be a little more starter house speed as far as this style of building goes. Okay, so now we're going to work on this slightly lower class than the fisherman's hut, which is currently the lowest class, I guess, house in the village. So this is going to be an even lower class version. And the point really is just variety in size and appearance. The difference between this house and the fisherman's hut is this isn't going to have any stone in it at all. Another big difference between this style of house and the other style of houses, is that this doesn't sit off the ground. If you notice, the floor level is going to be right here. Windows and things are going to be kind of absent in this one, and that's simply because of a safety thing. In the Middle Ages and like ancient times, very rarely would windows on single-story buildings happen, and if they did, they would usually be pretty high up. Usually you start to see in like walled cities and stuff, sometimes there'll be windows on the first floor because there's a little bit more of a protection element there, but generally a single story building isn't going to have windows in it, and again, like I said, that's a protection thing. Now originally I was going to keep this not a square. However, I think I am going to carry it out one more because I want to be able to, just like with a fisherman's hut, have the door frame done in oak logs, and I really want these sides to stay the length they are. So I'm just going to carry this out. So there's going to be a slight difference between this building and the fisherman's hut. So now that this has been widened, the next step is going to be to put the door frame in. And I remember now how I dealt with the barrels is I didn't. So there's the door frame, and these all come up 3, I believe. If I remember right, which I could easily go look, but I want to do this from memory. I believe there are cross beams that go across. This up. If I remember right, this is how that looked. But what we can do to double check is actually go look at the fisherman's hut, because that's what this is based off of. Yes. Yes, that is how that is done. Cool. Now, on the inside, I just wanted to know how much of the wood showed, because it doesn't really show out here, but it shows. And so really it's going to depend on how I want to do the ceiling. Now to save on oak, I'm actually going to replace these corner pieces with dark oak planks. And that is because these corners are actually going to be covered up with spruce trap doors. So it doesn't actually really matter what's underneath them. Because I'm using a lot of oak, I'm going to save on resources a little bit and do that instead. There, and now there's a little cut corner that we don't ever need to talk about again. And so that gives me a little bit more oak to play with as far as filling in all of these spots. So I finished these walls, and then I realized that this is actually going to be supposed to be one wider on both sides. So I actually need to chop these out. And I think I'm going to carry that through on all 4 sides. Simply because of the detail that this little indentation provides. There. So that helps kind of break up that surface a little bit more and gives us a little bit more shape there. And this is going to be one of the biggest differences class-wise. The fact that this house has wooden shingles versus the granite, or we could say terracotta shingles that all of the other houses have. Now, I'm not going to get into considering this like a shanty. We're not quite there yet. But this would be like the kind of house that maybe like unskilled laborers would live in. What you do for a living, anybody could do. You know, you can afford a house with a small fireplace to keep you warm. You can afford a house that doesn't have like dirt or stone or rush floors. So just like the fisherman's hut, we're going to use some spruce fences in the corners to act as like some additional support for the overall building. It helps keep the footprint smaller, and it kind of drives home the idea that the bulk of the full-blown lumber that gets used for construction. And so like leftover, like thinner pieces get used for support, for additional support. So I think I want this to be where the chimney goes. So we're just going to chop all of this up. And I think I want this to have kind of like a small little shape to it like that. And then we'll put our trapdoors around this. And then I think I'll put, just to bulk this up a little bit, a little bit of that action. And then I think I might grab some cobblestone walls. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Put a cobblestone wall there and a cobblestone wall there, just to kind of, do I like that? I definitely like this one. I don't know if I like that one. I'll get rid of this one. What if I did like this thing? No, that's silly looking. So here's the finished version. It is kind of weird to build something with the intention of it looking cheaper. It's also weird to do it twice differently. So that's kind of a weird headspace to put yourself in. But if we come inside here, it's kind of a cramped space. We've got one bed. We have a tiny little eating area here. This is like a little food prep area with a small amount of storage and a little bit of extra storage over here. Have like a small furnace for cooking like small meals. And then this is something I'm trying out. Basically, it's implied that this might be what's under all of the roofs. But because this is a more meager structure, you kind of see this more exposed rafters going on here. This isn't capped off basically to keep in heat. Again, because we're trying to play off the idea that conserving resources was the plan behind building this house. And so houses like this lower middle class house over here, which has a ceiling, that's going to help keep the heat in the living spaces. But in this house, which is a lower class house, we're going to assume that this is kind of drafty, and a lot of heat ends up kind of getting wasted, getting trapped up here. And that's just kind of a downside of living in these more meager conditions. With the lower middle class house and the lower class house built, that is going to be it for today. I look forward to seeing you next time in the Lapis Kingdom. Have a great day. Bye.